Today, one of the most disappointing things has happened that I can remember in the reptile hobby.
I want to personally thank Brian Barczyk from Animal Bites TV and BHB Reptiles, and Jay Brewer from Prehistoric Pets for allowing me to use clips from their videos in this message. Guys, honestly, at this point, there's not much you can do. So the next best step is to get in contact with USARK. USARK is an organization that stands up for reptile rights and our rights as responsible keepers nationwide. So please, if you want to do anything helpful at this point, spread the word and go down below and click on that donation button and donate anything you can for this cause. Help support them and help support your and your children's future with these lovely animals. Hello and welcome to the Kadawa Show. This is a short message I wanted to share with you about a law that has been passed within the United States lately. This is a law that was passed because of an organization called the Lacey Act. And what it does is it prohibits the movement of large snakes, namely two types of anacondas and reticulated pythons, from being able to be transported or traveled with across state lines. Now, this law obviously doesn't pertain to the majority of you. Most of you people do not care about snakes and things like that. But the whole point of me recording this message is sort of beyond that. As I said, it's not a big deal to most people, but there are a select number of people that do own these snakes, and also breeders that make quite an income from them, and have for many years. Therefore, this law will impact such people most, but only in the beginning. It will spread out. In the past, the Lacey Act did attempt to ban these reptiles from being moved from state to state already, but it failed. This time it passed. And next, people believe that it will pass on to other large snakes such as boas and other types of pythons, which pretty much every pet store within the United States sells. To me, this message is about what I call state law madness. Even in English teaching textbooks, I have encountered a lesson in the past about ridiculous state laws in America. So it is no mystery to people beyond this country. Some silly laws that I still remember were not being able to paint ducks blue in certain states or certain states, or you were not able to kill raccoons until after midnight. Check them out. My message today falls deep into this state law madness because states are not countries. People within the United States are completely networked nationwide. We have families in other states, jobs in other states. We move from towns to towns that are located in states next to us or not. But we all stand under the same culture and rights that we believe in. One of the silly state laws I would like to point out are gun laws. Gun laws are more strict in some states than others. This creates problems because moving from state to state and traveling from state to state is easy. There are no customs. These are not countries like I've mentioned before. Therefore, bringing guns into a state where it is prohibited will simply create more problems for that state because they are allowed in another. Another silly way of controlling the laws, which immediately comes to mind, are the marijuana laws. Marijuana has become legalized in 2 states lately, which are Colorado and Washington. It is now too late to back up and make marijuana illegal again within these states. We know that, we've seen it in the past, that this will create huge issues. So it is clearly inevitable that eventually all states will follow these same laws. And if they don't, it just will create problems everywhere. And maybe that's what some people want. Because there are cities so close to one another and families so close to one another that are only separated by this invisible line, these state lines, that it is unavoidable for people not to cross state lines with something that is illegal in one and not another. And finally, gay marriage is another point that I'd like to focus on. Gay marriage being legal in some states and some states not still creates a huge controversy around it. It's already been allowed. So let's move on forward and let's copy the idea and grow with it. But some states are not. Some mentalities are not, and that creates problems. Problems such as racism, sexism, it's on that same level, and it's all because of the inability to adapt and to educate. So why do these silly laws still exist? I honestly do not believe that it is because that's just how silly our politicians are within the United States. I deeply think that this is a matter of money. In the end, it's all down to money. If something is legal in one state and it crosses over to another state, there's a way for governments and political systems to make money out of it in another state. Maybe they're weak at other points and they're looking for quick income. Whatever it is, I'm not a politician. The United States government has experience, has done its research, and is not just some silly foundation putting down laws without thoughts of somebody benefiting largely on them. And usually these people are a select few at the top. In the end, this is a message not about snakes, not about other animals. It is about nature, but it's mainly about education. And I'm not talking about what you see on TV. I'm not necessarily talking about what you learn in school, but education of what is true and what is beneficial to all living things. Animal education is dying fast.
This is my girl Sunshine. She's an albino Burmese python and an amazing ambassador to the reptile world. She's been around thousands of kids at educational shows, just showing them how amazing these reptiles are. But sadly, she can't cross the state lines, or I'd be considered a felon if I did it. I've spent my entire life trying to educate people about how amazing reptiles are.
Animal Planet and Discovery Channel, they're under networks that are money hungry. That's what it's all about. To stay on TV, you have to make money. And in the end, all these shows simply become more about viewership, ratings, and money. Are you going to see true old school nature education on these shows? Less and less. That's my opinion, and the opinion of thousands of other nature lovers and animal lovers out there as well.
Future generations are going to suffer and not be able to see the beauty of these animals. Today, wildlife lost. And the education for wildlife lost. And I just
in the reptile community and other animal communities as well, there is a term often used which is conservation through captive breeding. What this means is taking the responsibility to saving an animal species by helping through breeding them and spreading education about them. The main benefit of this is that it takes less animals out of the wild. When these animals are banned to be sold through states, for example, the reticulated python. Reticulated pythons are huge snakes that come from Southeast Asia. They live in the tropical, hot environment. Why ban them from moving from Chicago, say, to New York? Even if this animal escapes, as soon as it hits winter, it's going to die. So this is clearly just a southern state problem. The states that are warm enough to where the animal can escape and become an invasive species within the environment around. So why not just ban movement of these snakes out and inside of Florida? That would be much easier to do, or only the southern states. So clearly it's not a matter of logic or what makes sense. It's something beyond that. And as I said before, money's got to be involved there for those politicians or whoever deals with these things.
This is not about whether you feel these animals are dangerous or they should be kept by private individuals. This is about an addition to Lacey, which is an Invasive Species Act, basically saying there's a chance that one day these animals could be invasive. And we all know that the Burmese pythons are an issue in South Florida in the Everglades. But why punish the entire country for a South Florida problem? Being from Michigan and millions of other people being from cold weather states, these animals could never live in the wild and certainly would never be an invasive species issue.
The reticulated python from Southeast Asia, if it cannot be bred within the states and sold, it will continue to be imported and exported out of those countries. Those countries generally do not have farms for such species of animals. They are wild caught. And large snakes like that are not hard to find. Most of them are not even sold within those countries as pets, but instead for their snake skin.
Conservation through captive propagation. How is that bad? We're taking all the stress off the animals in the wild. Nobody needs to take an animal out of the wild anymore because there's just no need. These animals, just like our dogs and cats, we don't have to go bring in new dog and cat lines to start a new breed. We have plenty, and there's plenty of types of breeds. I hope somehow we pull this all together, and I hope you're behind USARK. I know that I'm definitely am. Today they've ruled that reticulated pythons are an invasive species. Of course, we know they've never been an invasive species. We know they take 90 days sometimes to hatch. We know that if you're off by 2 or 3 degrees hot or cold, you get nothing but slugs. You know the eggs are almost impossible to hatch anyway, even if they took 60 days. It's unfortunately, this whole thing's based on non-science. And it's not even based on emotions. It's based on special interest groups pressuring the U.S. Fish and Wildlife. I went about 6 years ago, 5 years ago, I guess, to the Interior office. And he basically told us, the second in command told a group of us that they had to do something because of the pressure from outside.
If we cannot breed and transport these animals throughout the United States, that will speed up the process of extinction of this animal in the wild, as it will continue to be hunted with more ferocity than previously. So the whole point is to be able to breed animals that are in turn easier to take care of and to be used to educate people and in turn save more animals from being caught within the wild, so we can keep them wild and we can keep them where they should be. So that when our children grow up and travel to various countries, they can see these animals still in the wild, not just in zoo enclosures. In the end, the summary of all of this is never make decisions only supported by emotion. Always do your research. Wherever you learn the information, whether it's from a book, website, or school, always question it and make sure you educate yourself truly and you can educate others as much as you can to make the right decisions that can benefit most, if not all.
Because you are the voice of our country. You are what America is. It is supposed to be land of the free, but I know it's still land of the brave. So we're going to pull this clutch of eggs. It's not about money, guys. It's about our passion. It's about what we do. Right here, this thing has so far-reaching effect. Look at these cages, for instance. These cages were all built. These cages were all built for them. People that want to have snakes. They have pythons and different things, and you know they're built for us. This whole entire room.
Thanks for watching this, and stay tuned for more Kadawa episodes. See you guys. Check us out on Twitter and Facebook. The links will be down below. Until next time, have a great night or day wherever you are. Again, don't forget to check out USARK. And if you can, click on the link down below and send them a donation to help them fight for our rights as reptile owners.